For the balance spectrum keep on they seeking to government keepers megalithic mountain left it's true. Yeah, places up and no rasa kaifu for our ethnic brotherhood peace. For commencement in a righteousness feast with the raw reality up on the table. Not no pamper into false sense of security. Just the progress that I and I share myself to lead. Praise Jah Rastafari, just as long as I can evil. As I'm evil, as I'm evil. Just as long as I'm evil. Politician will have ramping preamble. The word populace one.
Yes, I, from the high places of a new Rasta, him guide you. You're now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, it's called the Master Blaster Janet. And the Rastafari, as we told you, it's a progression. All the cards are not on the table. In the Rastafari, there are what's called mansions. So there are sun-dried opinions. It is my attempt to cause out that you get the message correct. There is a faction of Rastafari called the Rastafari Republic under the coordination of your brother the Rastafari Ayman I, a brotherhood of enlightened beings. They are not all my age. There are young brothers in the brotherhood who are enlightened beings, who understand the essence of the Rastafari. So let me explain to you what we have in the Rastafari. As I was saying, there's always been brothers in the Rastafari, not just the brothers who are with the I, but there are brothers who have always been in Rastafari, who were sages, who were not part of the fundamentalists. There were brothers who were enlightened even in the inception of the Rastafari, who were a government unto themselves, whether they were learned in the art of herbalism, whether they were learned in the medical sciences, whether they were learning in poetry, music. They were a government unto themselves, i.e., they governed themselves. So that was the purpose or the intent of the Rastafari, not to have isms and schisms and mansions, but to produce a plethora of enlightened beings. That was the purpose of the Rastafari, the esoteric essence of the Rastafari. But somehow there became mansions of Rastafari. In all actuality, a group of students following men. These mansions are branches of Rastafari movement. Mansions include the Bobo Ashanti, which I visited in the early 80s. I went to visit the leader of the Bobo Ashanti. You've all heard of him, Prince Emmanuel. When I went there, they said that the prince was still alive, but he was not alive. He was dead. The term dread out every time came from that incident. going up to the hill and making it out, because there were rituals designed to keep you in. There were brothers flying the flag from the four corners of the earth. It was a ritual 24/7. Oh Jah Rastafari. You could hear young brothers, oh Jah Rastafari, 24/7. So when you came into Zion's Gate, as it was called, it was almost impossible to get out. So they say, I asked them, where was the sistering of that order? They said the sisters on their menses. Just so happened all was on their menses at the same time. But on the outside of the gate, you could hear young boys, oh Jah Rastafari, and you were under the impression that there were sisters inside, but there were no sisters. You get my point? They were all young boys. Prince Emmanuel himself had a close confidant that was a young man. And if you understand what I'm saying, oh Jah Rastafari, they make brooms. That was my first encounter of the Bobo Ashanti, and I met with a whole slew of them, the old men, the fire-breathing old men with long white beards, and I went to deliver the message of the Master Blaster jamming. Dread out every time I came down. As many know, you can go up there, you might not never come down. It's hell up in those hills. That's one of the mansions of Naya-Bengi. You have the Naya-Bengi, respectful order. You have the 12 tribes of Israel, founded by the prophet Gad. So all of these are movements where you have followers, but that wasn't the intent of the Rastafari. That's the intent. The term is taken from the biblical verse, that is mansions, John 14:2. In my Father's house there are many mansions. Common definition, Naya-Bengi drumming is a style. That's what we're dealing with here, sound vibration. But the Naya-Bengi of Jamaica is actually a symbol. The Master Blaster jamming is the epitome or the synthesis of all the contradictions of the Rastafari movement, where everything is fused into one consensus, is the epitome or the Master Blaster jamming. Check. Naya-Bengi drum is a style of ritual. Note ritual. That's the key. Ritual drumming. It didn't say functional. We mean ritual drumming. So the Rastafari of Jamaica is a priesthood that carry out rituals. We're not dealing with the sages there. Drumming performed in a communal, meditative practice. This is the official definition that they all go along with. Note that we're saying that the University of the West Indies define, the white writers define, the record labels define Rastafari. So the definition that they allow to be in the public is that this a Naya-Bengi drum is a style of ritual drumming performed as a communal meditative practice. Note that the Queen Naya-Bengi didn't use it as a meditative practice. She used it to keep the British out of the country, to keep the whites out of the country, for redemption, for freedom. There was power there. Beat the drum and somebody would fall dead. That power is not being exercised in the Rastafari movement. Communal, meditative practice of the Rastafarian religion in Jamaica. Like many facets of the Rastafarism, they call it, in actuality it's Rastafari, it takes its name from the Eastern African roots. In this case, the name of a goddess, and also the cult that worshipped her. A strict sect of Rastafarianism, they say, took the name Naya-Bengi and the name of the drumming style came from that. Though not all Naya-Bengi drummers are member of the Naya-Bengi sect. Naya-Bengi drumming is performed on 3 main drums. Note, this is supposed to be a science. This system of drumming came from Africa, but it's not functional. You know, like art's supposed to be functional as it was in Egypt, when there was a consensus of our spiritual science. Art don't supposed to be just hanging in the galleries for perception. It's supposed to be functional, causing you to see, understand, wake up, etc. Nyabingi drumming, as depicted currently, is performed on 3 main drums. But note, it's meant for meditative reasons. They just go smoke the ganja and beat the drums and meditate. But that's not really what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be chanting down Babylon. So when the Rastafari beat the drum like it was in the biblical day, you beat the drums, weak heart's supposed to fall dead, Babylon's supposed to crumble. But that's what's happening with the master blaster jamming, see? Okay, to prove there's a science, you have 3 main drums: the bass, the lowest drum, the pope killer, boom boom, the heartbeat, boom boom, the funda, the middle pitched drum, and the kita, the highest pitched drum. So if you notice, when you see Nyabingi, it's just a bunch of brothers praising Jah, beating on the drums. Nothing's happening around the world. No buildings falling, no people falling, no white folks having heart attack, no oppressors. I mean, I'm not a racist. I'm not against white folks. I'm my best friends of white folks. You're now in tune on the one, the force itself. This time we call the master the blaster jamming. So the bass strikes the first and the third beat. The funda plays on the 1-2 beat, and the kita plays the syncopated improvisation rhythms, generally with multiple drummers. You've seen them. Ross Michael's the foremost exponent of this. It's supposed to be a sacred rite, but it's a multicultural thing, playing conversationally, like a call and response between, just like you do in the church. So we're going to stop this right here. This is part 2. We're going to go into part 3 of this discourse, word, sound, power. In essence, what I'm trying to cause out that you see is that in essence the Rastafari is not ritualistic. Even in the hills of Lalabali there in Ethiopia, it's all symbolic and ritualistic. The monks go in and they pretend, and they coming out of the temples there with the Ark of the Covenant, and they have these brightly colored umbrellas, and they come out marching, beating on drums, sometimes carrying this so-called Ark of the Covenant. Well, there is no covenant in that Ark. The covenant is the agreement made with the gods. And this agreement, you can find it in the ancient Maya culture, Central America. Thought left Egypt, traveled to Central America as Quetzalcoatl, the Plum Serpent. There is the covenant. And the covenant says, when it gets like it is now, like it was in the time of Noah, that we make the sound, send out the sound, the grand Nyabingi, called the master blaster jamming at this time, and the gods will remember the covenant, the agreement that they made with us. Let them know that we are ready to get the hell up out of here before the poles shift on us. You're now in tune on the one, the force itself. I'm your brother, the Rastafari. Aital, Ayman, I. Peace.